It's finally time to start firing up the grill. From city to shore, Acme is everything you need to prep for this summer season. Download the Acme app to shop for this season's essentials any way you want. Open the Acme app, clip your deals, then order your items online. An experienced Acme associate will carefully select your groceries, bag your order, and bring it right to your car or deliver right to your door. Download the app or visit acmemarkets.com for program details.
Hi there, I am Adam Kirbas, and this is another episode of my podcast. We are still in the pandemic. Nothing has changed. It is still August, an ordinary day in August. I'm here in Turkey, in Ordu, in the Black Sea region in Turkey. And we are still talking about screenplays as well as movie characters and why they might be appealing to us, why we some sort of see ourselves or even favor characters in TV shows and movies. I always said, I mean, again, and we will have to repeat this again. I mean, this is making movies, TV shows, whatsoever. It would be some sort of naive to assume that these movies, they are all made to some sort of, in a way, art. They are a product of art. Of course, they are art, but this is planned art. This is art which, of course, has plans to reach a lot of people, so art, if you want, that is commercialized. However, despite the fact it is art which has its foundation in society, which I try to prove in a way or another, so that TV shows, this is something you can see always have some sort of a heavy leaning on reality, on society, and this is art. This is actually valuable if you want. This is art which has depth and is not in a way detached, high above and so on. But however, so every time you make a movie, this is what we have to repeat here again. So you want, of course, reach a lot of people, and this is why you some sort of make sure of it. I mean, this is why many A-listed actors in Hollywood makes so many movies and so on. The last time we talked about Sex and the City, we talked about female characters and why they have so much appeal among women. This is we talked in the beginning about Samantha. I said is some sort of epitomizes this desire of women to be man, this to be unconventional, so to be not this girl, if you want, of whom everyone expects to behave, so yeah, and function in society. You have, the more you want to please others, the more you want to be some sort of the person everyone expects you to be, the more you want, in a way, break free. And Samantha in Sex and the City, this character of Samantha, pretty much epitomizes it. But of course, this break free, this how you can get out of it, does need a role model, some sort of a precedent. And this is, of course, what many women assume a man in that sense. They can roam around, man can have a lot of sexual partners. I mean, we will talk about this when we talk about desire as well, but this is how women, in a way, portray, and in our society, which is still, if you want, so this male gender, or being a man, is still favored. Of course, there are a lot of I would say misconceptions as well. what it is being like man, but mostly it is always been considered as favorable. It is privileged from a white middle class man. So this is what is favored. This is what everyone assumes, that they would have privilege and so on. So I mean, we will not go into the detail. We will not solve whether this is true or not for a fact. But this is why so many people some sort of break free. And this is not only about being a man, or this is as well as generally in conventions. So if you some sort of live in a society which is highly censored by how you behave, how you should act in society, and so on, then of course you want some sort of break free. And we had a small excursion to a Marvel or the concept of evil in Marvel. I talked about Spider-Man, where some sort of, if you want, Spider-Man some sort of gets tempted by the dark side, so he becomes Venom and so on. So he is not this Peter Parker anymore, which everyone expects. He's more not this nice guy anymore. No, he's this forward moving guy. He's this more, if you want, more egocentric guy. He's more the person who cares for his own needs. This is, again, if we come back to Sex and the City, this is some sort of a swings with the character of Samantha in Sex and the City. This is that she's egoistic, that she only cares about herself. I mean, and this is then considered in a positive way. That's why it is some sort of male desire, because male desire having a lot of sexual or having a lot of sex partners, having a lot of sexual intercourse is being considered positive by in the main domain by men. And then whereas if you are a woman and you have, if you want a lot of sexual partners, this is rather being considered negative. You are rather stigmatized by as a slut and so on. So it is, that's why. So in that sense, if you want, Samantha's character is some sort of, or portrays in that sense, male desire, that you don't have to feel ashamed of your sexuality. You can just take what you want. So like a man, just to or like many women assumes man would do. And of course this is in a way understandable. So this is not, I mean, if you see as a woman that a lot of men whore around, I mean, this is this word for it, so let's say a bit cautiously, I mean, if you see a lot of men whore around and they do not have to face social chiding, or they don't, or their reputation and social appeal is not being ruined by this, then of course this makes women jealous. You some sort of feel again the two worlds, two value systems, if you want. So women have to perform at a way higher standard than men. So and this is of course has partially a desire in it to go beyond this border between men and women, then become this man yourself. And this is then this desire, because this desire is, if we want to go into, I mean, we will not go too much into detail because we will talk about this in desire, but this is some sort of using man in a way as a tool. This is what Samantha partially does. I mean, where men are being diminished in a way as a tool, and this is where how many women imagine men would think. So a woman is just a woman with a nice ass, and boobs, and the more you have, this is some sort of a trophy. So and you some sort of just for your thrill. You don't care about anything that's beyond your thrill. It's just about excitement. It is about yourself. This is again how women portray man or male sexuality. And then Samantha in Sex and the City, she then emulates this in a way with a lot of sexual partners, and that she appears shallow in a way, but this is shallowness again is something very we have to be cautiously in that sense, because shallowness does not mean necessarily that you're a plain human being. Shallowness mean that you, for example, that you can have an intricate character, but you are some sort of emotionally distant. If you only consider the character of Mr. Big in Sex and the City, then you can see, if you only see, everyone would actually assume, he's shallow as well. I mean, he's distant. He is not willing to commit. He dates other women next to Carrie. So you could then say, isn't he shallow as well? And where's the difference between Mr. Big and Samantha? Has Mr. Big some sort of a certain style, because he goes for shallow women as well. So he marries the woman who looks beautiful, but not the woman who might love her, or only in the end loves her. And this is this is where we have to be a little bit cautious, whereas sexual or emotional shallowness versus character or having an intricate character, because if you do not want to commit to a relationship, if you do not want to live monogamous, or if you want to have more than or many sexual partners, this does not necessarily mean that this person is emotionally shallow or something. However, and then we talked about Miranda. I mean, this was some sort of where things may could have become some sort of difficult to understand, but the narration was. This is what I talked about it previously, that women at Miranda, the character of Miranda in Sex and the City, this is actually a character which in a way epitomizes many women in real life who have to make a living or have to be successful in a through and through male domain. So this is what business and society is about. So there are not very or many areas where you can some sort of be a woman, whatever this means. We of course know this is always some sort of questionable, what is a gender and so on. However, but if you see it, Miranda in Sex and the City, she's a lawyer. This is typically a male domain. She dresses like a boy if you want. She has a short hair and of course many feminists and so associate themselves with her. And then we talked about it in previous episodes. To be successful for women in a male domain always comes with sacrifices, and sacrifices like that you have to be a part of it, that you have to be some sort of the body of other male cliques, because this is what we know from sociology, that in many companies there is some sort of a male group, and things in a company are rather organized like male groups, like a peer group, and if you are a woman, you are mostly excluded from these peer groups or from these male groups, bromances and whatsoever. And then of course you have to some sort of have male manners, be like a man, act like a man, and this of course comes with sacrifices of your femininity. And this is what you see with Miranda in that sense. But however, it might be very likable for many feminists. She is independent. She buys her own home. She cares for herself. Yeah, this is not a bad thing. But again, she is independent. She is independent because she's some sort of subordinated herself to this male ideal, to being a man or acting like a man. Or in that sense, we have to be more precise in some sort of in taking over male role models. This is why she became successful, and not through her femininity or through her creativity, or if you want. So in that sense, or this is a common, even though it might all appear as emancipated, as free, as feminine, whatsoever, but you can see this branch within feminism as well. I mean, this is that women more and more they for the means to become independent, for the means to be some sort of a free woman, they more and more adopt male behavior, and we talked about this. So if female behavior is if your the way you dress, the way you be, and so on, if this is constructed as a woman, then it is as well as constructed as a man. This means that male gender is constructed as well, and there is some sort of a rift, a huge rift between biological gender or between biological sex and social gender. Of course, there are many branches in feminism which would not make this separation, but for my understanding, I do this. However, and in this, many feminists then more and more, in order to be dominant, in order to be independent, take over male bearings, take over some sort of, as well as male aesthetics, because what is male is aesthetics. This is what we talked about, as this is rather some sort of a simplistic aesthetic. This derives from the military. This is your clothes, how you wear, how you bear. This is rather all for use in a combat, for use in in attacks and so on. This is where this male gender derives from. So being obedient, being some sort of interchangeable. This is what you see as well. So with short hairs, with mono-colored clothes, simplistic, some sort of simplistic. You were not close to fancy yourself, or in a way, if you want, you do not wear multicultural clothes or some sort of eccentric clothes, but you some sort of wear simplistic clothes, which some sort of, in a way, are only for use or for easy to walk in, some comfortable and so on. And as well as your hair, I mean, this is everyone. I mean, I have long hair right now, and long hair is some sort of difficult to tan and so on. So whereas with short hair, this is easy, and as well as it looks manly in that sense. And many women or many feminists then have adopted some sort of a male behavior, and this led to the sacrifice of femininity, especially your feminine sexuality, because the more you become a man, the more you some sort of emulate man, of course your sexuality or your self-understanding and self-assurance as a woman suffers. And this is what you partially see in the character arc of Miranda, because she has her boyfriend Steve, who is some sort of, if you want, a better male. She does better than him. She controls him, or he is rather dependent from him. He needs her. Steve needs her, but she some sort of doesn't need to be, or doesn't need him. And this is again some sort of male behavior, if you want, what we saw with Samantha, and as well some sort of Miranda is way more independent. She has her own way, and of course, because you are some sort of insecure with your sexuality, then you need in a way a man which is in a way dependable, or which depends on you, which a man who cannot just walk out you. This is then becomes even very vivid when Steve has cancer, has issues with his manhood, if you want. And this is again some sort of a proof that in a way that Miranda takes charge, takes control, and that Steve is in a way subordinated to her, and this makes it then function in a way. This is, if you want, a fear of many emancipated women, especially women who gained their emancipation in playing along with the game, and this meant that you had to adapt to a male society, that you had to adapt to male behavior, so you played along, you succeeded, and this emancipation isn't emancipated, of course, because you are independent. You can some sort of form your own life, but this has, of course, its price, and this is that you do not feel secure about your sexuality, and then you feel only secure, or can secure yourself with a boyfriend, a husband, which is some sort of subordinated to you, is weak in that sense, or does not challenge you, is some sort of a secure play, if you want. And this then enables you some sort of feel pleasure. Some sort of swings with the character of Miranda, that she really some sort of needs to have control in a way, and this mirrors many women, especially successful women. I mean, we talked about this women's success is something people not only frown upon, but as well as do not like. This is a lot with still men feel threatened by female success. So if you're a woman, if you're a successful woman, you have to be very careful. You have to be cautious. So and this all comes together, and then it is of course difficult to find the right man, because every man, or the average man, in a way, this is in a way assumed. The average man would feel threatened by her success, because Steve is just a normal bar keeper. He is not like Mr. Big, very successful. So if you have the relationship with Carrie and Mr. Big here, the roles are reversed here. Mr. Big is this successful man. He is very sophisticated. He has accomplished a lot, and he buys Carrie's shoes and so on. He has financial financial security, prowess, and so and so on. So in that sense, he plays in a different society that then carry, but and he's, if you want, the ideal, the desirable bachelor, and this is how it is as well as transmitted in the TV show, that Mr. Big, he is this desirable bachelor, everyone wants him, and so on. This is how he's been introduced. Whereas Steve, this bar keeper, he is some sort of out of the ordinary, so he cannot afford Miranda, the lifestyle which normally men do. So this is some sort of below average. So Steve is not the average man. This is not average people. So some sort of, he's below average. So as well as then later with his issues. With the issues of his manhood, some sort of, he's not this normal potent man, but he's some sort of rightfully fit to a woman who is insecure of sexuality as well. And this is indeed, so this is not some sort of, in a way, to demean feminism or demean recent developments in the society, despite the fact that Miranda was embraced by many feminists, of course. However, this is always, you have to be aware always with this emancipation, and I talked about this as well, that feminism, especially the third wave of feminism, has a very negative view on female sexuality. They think that female sexuality is always some sort to please male desire. That's why or that women in that sense wouldn't have, or that the woman has not discovered her sexuality yet, and that she should, in a way, even defend herself against male desire, defend herself being exploited, because in the third wave of feminism, this is what I pretty much perceived in the university. That this is, as well as you can read this in texts, in many feminist texts, this is pretty much blatantly put, so you can't even, you don't have to interpret it whatsoever. This is pretty much straightforward. They put it pretty much blatantly that women, or that sex, in that sense, sexual desire only helps man, that sexual desires is in a way only a man's gain and a woman's loss, because a woman some sort of forces herself, needs to force herself to please man, and that women, for that sense, would actually not feel real desire, or that it is true, female sexual desire is different, yes, but these texts pretty much advocate that desire in its core is male, sexual desire is male, and that women would not perceive any desire through her vagina, and through her clit and so on. Of course, these texts are pretty much inspired by transgender approaches, which try to deny some sort of or try to prove that biological sex is construed as well. I mean, this is many transgender approaches try to do that, but I don't read one of them. I didn't read one of those attempts, which actually pretty much, which succeeded. No, not at all. It did not. So, However, but this is where this derives from, and in that sense, female sexuality. And this, in a way, still mirrors itself in the character arc of Miranda in Sex and the City. This woman, you would have to say rather you see this in some sort of bitterness in that sense, because that you are still in bitter because you live in a male society. You had to adopt to it, but yet still men have privileges in this society. So you in that sense fell through, no matter how much you struggle, no matter how much you accomplish, you still you still will be measured by other women, by the success of other women, and not with other men, or that you are, or that you will be differently evaluated. Your successes are being differently weighed. So, and this still leads to some sort of bitterness because there is still a male privilege in the society. This is a fact. This is fact. This is statistics. We have it. There's still a male privilege in the society. Women are disproportionately disadvantaged, as well as, and with this comes, of course, some sort of insecurity with your sexuality, because still this is, especially in recent times, female sexuality has been considered negative. The next character I want to talk about, but this is only briefly, this is about Charlotte. Charlotte, we talked about this character arc with Sansa, if you want, in Game of Thrones, and Charlotte pretty much epitomizes what I talked about Sansa in Game of Thrones. So she is this woman, who has this ideal image of love. So she has pretty much pretty clear vision of love, or what the true love couple should be. These are girls mostly who wake up or grow up in the belief to be princess, to be the princess of a lord, and so on. And there is a lot of, you could say, literature, a lot of stuff which these girls fall for. I mean, this is what you see with Sansa as well. So she hoped for this great prince, this Joffrey, who supposed to love her, and everything was supposed to be perfect. So, and then more and more she saw the devious nature of this man, of this boy. This is some sort of, you see with Charlotte as well, but with Charlotte it is rather about life. So she meets someone, but this someone then cannot become independent from his mother. She has to some sort of share him with his mother. This is very common as well. And then of course her prince is not potent, or she is not attractive to him. So this sexual desire is some sort of misplaced. This is as well as you have in Sansa in Game of Thrones, as well as at first there was this at first Joffrey, he was pretty much this psychopath, and then she had Tyrion. She was married to Tyrion. He was some sort of a man, if you want, a more decent man, but he's a dwarf, an imp, and therefore is not physically desirable. Then she has Ramsay, if you want, is again, Ramsay is more physically desirable, but but he's again a psychopath, and in the end, then Sansa becomes a queen. In the end, she then becomes independent and without a man, and with Charlotte, okay, in the end, she marries a man, which she did not dream would be, or which she did not assume she would ever fall in love with. But again, she has a very sexual drive for him. And so this is, if you want, what we talked about previously about a woman who becomes or grows into adult age, a woman who had some sort of ideal love. This is what we all have, had an ideal love, and then life changed it, and she became an adult. She became some sort of grew out of this naive worldview, and then she fell in love with a man who is not her Prince Charming. In the case of Charlotte, or she becomes independent and some sort of self-sufficient. This is what you see in Game of Thrones with Sansa when she becomes queen of the North. However, the next character I wanna talk about is Carrie. Carrie is the main protagonist in the TV show. So the TV show pretty much revolves around her. So why is she so, in a way, desirable? I mean, Carrie, in that sense, what we talked about is this typical Supergirl arc. So she's very smart. She's very smart. She's down to earth. She's if you watch or pay careful attention, all these other three women, they have some sort of a specific character, and Carrie, in that sense, is some sort of in a way, always the middle ground. She doesn't seem to be too excessive. For example, Carrie has a normal drive for sexuality, but she's not like Samantha. She doesn't. She's in that way not shallow. Carrie is, of course, is about emancipation. Is about being independent, but she's not so excessive like Miranda. She's not bitter, or she's not in some sort of a male domain. And then Carrie has, of course, some sort of an idea of an ideal love. This is some sort of, with Mr. Big, he comes along with, as this knight and so on. So if you only see how Mr. Big and Carrie meet in the TV show, this has some sort of chivalrous tune. It is some sort of how a lady meets a knight. I mean, you really have to. This is a good scene actually, and there are a lot of some sort of scene or parts of this scene which really remind us of a lady meeting a knight. But however, she's not as excessive as Charlotte. So who has on one dream, and which is some sort of narrow, and everything revolves around this idea. If you only put this all together, then you see that Carrie in Sex and the City, she's some sort of if you want, some sort of a middle ground. She does not have all these excessive traits like all these others. And this is some sort of a desirable. I mean, this is some sort of, in a way, how super girls see them selves, or how, if you want, many women see themselves. I mean, she's super smart. I mean, this is what she writes this column about sex, and sex is something what everyone talks about. I mean, think about love. If you know the secret of love, then you know a lot, or at least this is how our society is some sort of built upon. Everything in a way revolves around love. Everything revolves around finding the right woman. So if you know a lot about this, or to put it straightforward, love is some sort of the core of human interaction between the sexes. So this is what core, and this is in a way what drives human nature. And if you know a lot of love, people mostly will consider you as experienced, because it's about society. You have to have some sort of emotional understanding, depth. This is what you have. So this is, if you want to, that's the difference between Carrie and Samantha, because you some sort of have this perception. Carrie has more depth because she has some sort of values, she has some sort of love, she has this ideal love, but it is not naive like you have in you have it with Charlotte, and it is not some sort of bitter like you have it with Miranda. She as well as wants to be emancipated. Carrie wants to be independent, but yet she still some sort of is on a normal scale, and she's of course admired by many because she can do a lot of things at once. I mean, this is what you, in a way, I don't want to say naive, but this is you should call it that way. So your desire to know everything, to be some sort of smart in a way. This is what we encountered with in Grey's Anatomy with the character of Miranda Bailey as well. I mean, you know everything in a way, but you are not some sort of excessive. You are only perceived as excessive by others, but you some sort of have knowledge. You are the arc of the group. This is how you pretty much perceive it in Sex and the City as well. I mean, Carrie is some sort of the center of the group. She some sort of links every part together because she's some sort of the middle ground. She's some sort of the more down to earth. She's not excessive like all the others. She defines herself actually as not excessive. If you want, Sex and the City for that sense has only 3.5 characters, because Carrie is actually only a half character, because she's only not the excessive parts of all the others combined. However, and of course this is a desire what women have. I mean, you are successful in love, you are successful in your job, and especially a job which is feminine. I mean, this, to talk about law, it is way more different than to talk about love. So love is some sort of the métier, or the area where women, or everyone assumes women know more. This is the difference between Carrie and Miranda. And we will continue talking about this the next time. This was Adam Kivas from Ordu in Turkey on this cloudy August day. We are still in the pandemic. I hope that you all are doing fine, and bye.
It's finally time to start firing up the grill. From city to shore, Acme has everything you need to prep for this summer season. Download the Acme app to shop for this season's essentials any way you want. Open the Acme app, clip your deals, then order your items online. An experienced Acme associate will carefully select your groceries, bag your order, and bring it right to your car or deliver right to your door. Download the app or visit acmemarkets.com for program details.